Hello, Wakefield. My name is Maria Muti, and as the chair of the Wakefield Human Rights Commission, I'd like to welcome you to the 5th annual Martin Luther King Coretta Scott King's Day celebration. We're excited that this has become an annual tradition in our town, and although we are joining you from our homes this year, the dedication and thoughtfulness that's been put into this year's event is the same as any other. I'd like to thank subcommittee members Benny Weed, Nicole Jacob, Jeremy Little, Teresa Aravena-Gonzalez, Faith Defendre, and our event volunteer Eileen Rooney for their work on this program. Thank you also to Town Councilor Maureen Butt for her participation, all of the students for their contributions, and finally to the staff at WCAT for putting this video together for us. We hope that you enjoy this event honoring Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King, who lived their lives with compassionate action for the Black community and taught us all to fight hate with love. The compassionate actions of our awardees are why we recognize them today, and our community is a better place for what they bring to it. And now, it is my honor to introduce our keynote speakers, Faith Defendre and Raina Grant.
Hi, I'm Faith, and I'm the high school liaison on the Human Rights Commission and the president of the Black Student Union at the high school.
Hello, my name is Raina Grant, and I'm vice president of the Black Student Union here at the high school.
We are really honored to be able to talk about compassion today and the compassion in our community, and we really just appreciate this opportunity. We just want to get started and talk about what compassion means to us.
Yeah, so what compassion means to me is that, it's not just about being kind to one another and feeling empathy for one another, but it's also really putting yourself into someone's shoes and actually understanding what someone's going through and actually understanding, how they're feeling.
I agree with Raina. I believe that the definition of compassion is literally to suffer with each other. So with that being said, I think it's about seeing somebody else's pain and being motivated to take them out of that and just uplift them out of that in any way that you can, whether it be helping them out or finding somebody else to bring about the situation to help them out with. For me, I moved to the city about 2-3 years ago, and I was a kid who moved around a lot. So coming to Wakefield and just being welcomed by not only the teachers, but all the faculty and staff members and the students, it meant a lot, especially in an area where the people don't look like me as much. I felt welcomed as they tried to accept me for who I was, and it just helped me feel better. Like, teachers would come and ask me about how I'm feeling and how I'm doing in classes and whether or not I'm making friends, and students would ask me to sit with them at lunch, knowing that I was a new student and I might not feel accepted based on the fact that I'm not or don't look like them.
Yeah, for me, I came here when I was a freshman. I'm in the METCO program. And so, being one of the few Black students in the school, it's kind of hard. But I do swim. That's the first sport that I do. It's a fall sport. And so we start before school actually starts. So we start in August. And so I got to really meet the girls and kind of develop a friendship with them before school even started. So, and they were very welcoming. They knew that I was a minority, and so they understood, that they could see that I kind of felt uncomfortable at first, and so they knew, they came to talk to me. They were like, "Hey, just feel comfortable. Like, you're good here. Your family here. And it that's definitely compassion. And it feels good."
I know, I remember you telling me before about how your commute to Wakefield is a long thing. So even having people help you with that was something that was so important. Mm-hmm. And I believe that was a strong form of compassion, being able to come to a city that is really welcoming and helping you commute back and forth from home to school to practices. I think that is something that was...
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely thank all the people that has given me a ride to the train, and even all the way to Boston, dropping me off to my own home. And so, I really thank those people for just, doing acts of compassion and, doing that for me. So,
yeah. So I just want to express how important it is to show compassion as a community so that we can just overall promote an inclusive environment, a diverse environment. an environment that just promotes human rights, promotes the rights of just everybody themselves. I wanted to talk about actually how we can start showing compassion. And I think the most important step is to actually start by showing compassion to yourself.
Right.
I think it's important for people to step back and just look at themselves and be like, am I being nice to myself? Am I prioritizing my goals? Am I prioritizing what's important to me? Am I treating myself with self-care? Because it is extremely hard and you become extremely drained of energy when you try and put everybody in the whole world before you. I think that building that self-love and teaching yourself compassion is the only true way to show love and compassion to others. And like they always say, it always starts with you.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, here in Wakefield, like you just said, you know, we have to start showing compassion for ourselves. And so when we start doing that, then we can, you know, show compassion to others.
The second step to being able to show true compassion is being able to be fully aware of your surroundings and who and what is around you. I feel as if being able to use our verbal and non-verbal communication skills is really important around these times, because it's important to be able to hear someone and not only hearing to say something back, but hear them to understand and try to understand and put yourself in that situation and understand what they are going through and what they're trying to say. Because sometimes a call for help might not sound like a call for help.
Right.
It might just sound like a kid who maybe in the back of the class and not participating and not wanting to talk to someone. That might be a call for help, or a call for help can be someone who's on the street being really rude and they might curse you out while with road rage or whatever. But that's a call for help, showing that person compassion instead of getting into an argument with them, or showing that kid in the back of the classroom compassion by going there and telling them that, you know what, I'm here for you. I'm here to like help you. If you need help with this, I can help you. What do you need? Being just able to hear somebody when they are calling out for their needs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and just on top of what you said, and even in difficult conversations, you know, about racism, I've had many difficult conversations with white people about racism. And, you know, really the first step of compassion in that situation is really just understanding that, okay, you went through this. I am so sorry that you went through this. And so I'm going to do everything that I can to, you know, help you, I guess. Or, sorry, let me go back. Like, I guess, help the situation and help to stop, you know, racism. And also another step to take in that situation is just not dismissing the fact that there is racism in this country, in this world. I don't know if you want to piggyback.
I would like to. I think about your part that you're saying, you can't dismiss somebody's feelings. A call for help is a call for help. If someone's talking about a situation that is affecting them, as you said, racism, it is showing compassion is being able to listen even when you don't understand, so that you might understand, so that you might have, and not an opinion, but more of a perspective on what is actually going on and how it may not affect you, but it's affecting someone else. And compassion in the community is being able to address situations that may not affect you. Like MLK said something along the lines of showing compassion is more than throwing a penny or a coin at a beggar. It's seeing that there's a problem with the structure, that there is beggars still, and trying to fix that. And so I think what you're saying is just being able to see that there's a problem someone's complaining about, and being able to sympathize and empathize and try to understand what they're coming from and try to fix the situation and being an advocate.
Right.
Which brings me to our next point of being an advocate, which is so, so important for the people who don't have a voice in the community.
Yep.
Which I feel as the Human Rights Commission, that's what we are all about. We're all about being a voice in the community for those who don't have a voice. I feel like it's so important to speak up for people when they need to be heard, or when there's no way for them to be heard. Even when they don't know how to address the situation themselves, it's so crucial to be an advocate for people. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Even in the Black Student Union, you know, we advocate for each other.
All the time.
It is a very safe space for us to talk about issues like racism, police brutality, you know, all those social justice issues.
Even like problems in our own small community of Wakefield.
Right.
Like addressing, someone might have felt left out and feels as if the reason is because of their race. Being able to talk about this and bring it up to someone of power that could help that situation, that is being a true advocate in any situation. And the most important thing that we just want to advise to you guys today before we go is we want to talk about encouraging each other and how important it is to encourage each other through times like this. Mm-hmm. Especially, we just went through one of our most challenging years, 2020, where there was a pandemic and it was so hard to be in somebody else's ear to encourage them and keep them motivated. And it might be hard for a lot of people to stay self-motivated. And during this time, we've seen so many cases where people did encourage each other, whether it was through Zoom calls or emails or text messages or FaceTimes. We were there for each other, and I just want us to continue being there for each other, continue telling people that they are good enough, and continue telling people that they can fight for their situation. It does matter. Just continue being there for each other and everything.
Right. Not even with the pandemic, but with all the Black Lives Matter protest that has been happening over the summer. People really came together and protested to make a change. And again, this whole video is about compassion, and that is compassion right there. So
true compassion really is risking your life for someone amid where you can potentially be attacked for being there or catch Corona, COVID-19. Just being able to put yourself in a situation where you might suffer for a greater cause, that is true compassion, showing up for the people around you. We just want to thank you so much, so much for just being a part of our MLK event and Coretta Scott King event. This means so much to us. This means so much supporting the Black community and all that we've done, and just being allies of human rights. It just means the most, and it's a true form of compassion to be able to be here and participate for us.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything that Faith just said. Just go out there, do acts of compassion, empathy, and just take care of each other. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole Jacob, and I am a sophomore at Wakefield Memorial High School. To me, compassion is one of the most important emotions a person can have. It helps to unite people of different origins, as well as create a welcoming feeling among peers and strangers. Without compassion, people would have a harder time connecting and expressing their feelings. Showing someone you're close to or someone that is not close to you that you care about them opens up a number of sentiments that essentially bring out the best in people.
The more you give, the more you get. The more you laugh, the less you fret. The more you do unselfishly, the more you live abundantly. The more of everything you share, the more you'll always have to spare. The more you love, the more you'll find that life is good and friends are kind. For only that we give away enriches us from day to day.
Hello, all. I'm Wakefield Town Councilor Maureen Butt. For the past 3 years, I've had the honor to serve as liaison to the Human Rights Commission. The Wakefield Human Rights Commission was founded in 2015, and the group's mission is to promote the civil and human rights of all people in Wakefield. Their goal is to reinforce positive relationships in the community and to create educational programs to foster greater understanding and appreciation for diversity. For the past 5 years, the HRC has hosted an annual MLK and Coretta Scott King Day event. The event honors individuals and organizations in our town who have made significant and tangible contributions in promoting civil and human rights. This year, because of the pandemic, we have moved the event to this virtual world with the help of WCAT. And I was asked to moderate a conversation with this year's award winners. So let me start by introducing the 3 honorees. First, the youth awardee is Raina Grant, who's a senior at Wakefield High School. Raina has organized and led a number of initiatives at Wakefield Memorial High School to bring awareness and change to issues around diversity, equity, and inclusion. She is one of the founding members and leaders of the Black Student Union. She co-organized the student-led Black Lives Matter demonstration this past spring, and she has organized fundraising efforts to fund Atlantic staff writer and poet Clint Smith to come to the high school in February. Raina has been a member of the Diversity Leaders Program for the past 2 years. In addition, she has been an administrative intern for Rep. Kevin Honan and has volunteered at West End House Boys and Girls Club. Second, let me introduce you to my friend, the adult honoree, Wendy Dennis. Wendy is a lifelong resident of Wakefield. She has volunteered at the Linden Tree Coffee House, ran the farmer market for years, worked on climate change initiatives, and been on the board of the Wakefield Food Pantry. Many will recognize Wendy from singing in the Wakefield Community Choir at local events in town, although, of course, that's been put on hold because of the pandemic. Third, the organization being recognized is the UU Church's Social Action Committee, and Janine Fabiano is representing the group. The Social Action Committee, through the Unitarian Universalist Church of Wakefield, considers racial justice work as an integral part of their mission. Last spring, when the Black Lives Matter wanted to take their movement for racial equity and justice into the suburbs, the Social Action Committee met the call. The committee established and invited church and community members to join Stand Together Tuesdays for Racial Justice, a peaceful demonstration each Tuesday late afternoon. Their Stand Together vigils have continued into the fall and winter with the addition of once a month Saturday morning demonstrations. So thank you and congratulations to the 3 honorees. And now we're just gonna have a little conversation so people can learn more about you and your organizations and all the amazing work that you've done. So I'm gonna ask the same questions to everyone, but and feel free to chat as much as you want. But the first question is, how did you first get involved in your community work or your community activism? So Raina, can I go to you first?
Yeah, sure. It's funny because at first, I wasn't, all completely into the activism part. I already knew in college I wanted to study sports. I wanted to go in sports management and stuff like that. I'm an athlete, and so I was heavy on sports and stuff like that. But when I went into diversity last year, it kind of, I guess, put on me that I really want to make a difference in the world and in my community. Just seeing all the police brutality against Black Americans has really, touched my heart, and it really made me emotional. And after seeing all that, I really just looked at that as like a first step, and just kind of making me take that first step into, really bringing change.
Thank you so much. Wendy, would you like to go next?
I don't know quite when I started. I know both of my parents were always very active and into doing good deeds, whatever. I remember being involved. I joined it used to be called Co-op America. It's now Green America when I was 25, which is an organization that uses shareholder power to affect change in big corporations with boycotts and shareholder activities. And so it's been a long time I've been aware of the big issues, big problems going on in the world, in the government, things like that. I remember risking arrest during doing witnessing for immigrants and asylum seekers from El Salvador in my late 20s, early 30s. I don't know. But I think the bulk of it, when I moved back to Wakefield, I'm not lifelong. I grew up here, graduated Wakefield High, but I came back whenever, mid-90s, I think, and came back. I grew up in the UU Church and was involved there and did different things there. I don't know. I look at that. I have people go, "Why do you do what you do?" And I say, I have no idea. I don't know. It's just what you're supposed to do. That's all. That's all. And I think I said to you, Maureen, in a message today, is that I'm really good at project management. And if I see a project that needs to be done and nobody else is doing it, I say, well, I can do that. And I do it. And that's about it. I don't know. I don't know why. Who knows? I get it's just the right thing to do. I think I was luckily instilled with really good values from my family and from my Unitarian Universalist church community, and currently my Episcopal, Wakefield Episcopal community. And you just go do good stuff. That's all. It's there's a lot of different things going on in the world, and it's important to affect change from the bottom up. And that's how you do it. Farmers markets, supporting local farmers, all that, just whatever. And also who you vote for. And obviously all the issues going on with Black Lives Matters. There's a lot of work to do. And these are, to say it very understatement is we are living in very interesting times, and there's lots to do.
Thank you, Wendy. Janine, same question. How did you first get involved in community work and activism?
Well, mostly it's been through the Unitarian Universalist Church, which in its own roots goes back to supporting, they were some of the strongest abolitionists, centuries ago, and also joined the fight for civil rights. And then over the last several decades, a lot of social action committees have sprung up through Unitarian Universalist Church to continue the work for social justice and to continue to try to change our cities, state, towns from a white dominance of wealth and power to one of racial equality. So most recently, when our social action committee had heard that Black Lives Matter really wanted to bring awareness and end structural racism, bring that work to the suburbs, we wanted to do it. And so we got the word out and we organized our peaceful demonstration.
That's great. Thank you so much. There's a theme that all three of you touched on, and the work that you do is so vested in the community. I was fortunate to go to the event that Raina and others organized last summer, even going to the farmer market every week and going to standouts on Tuesday. And so Miss Coretta Scott King said, "The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members." What does it mean to you to take compassionate action? And especially in your community, for your community, what does it mean to take compassionate action? And I'm going to start with Wendy this time.
When I finally moved back to Wakefield permanently, I became involved in the Wakefield Food Pantry. And how that happened was our current minister wasn't able to go to some meetings, so I went instead. And then I ended up saying, "Oh, I'll help find a new director and help, form a 501c3." And my joke is I found myself because I became the director of the food pantry. But one thing I learned about Wakefield is that it's such a generous community. And I learned that from my work at the food pantry. I was the director there for 3 or 4 years or whatever, back in the early 2000s. And I was just amazed. And also I noticed, I now am the caretaker of Wakefield.org, but Corey Helmer used to be. And I worked with her at some point. I remember seeing this huge long list of Wakefield-centric nonprofits. Like, who would donate to them unless they live in Wakefield or have children or grandchildren in Wakefield? And you can go to wakefield.org and you can go to, nonprofit, whatever I can't remember what I call the designation, probably nonprofits and civic organizations. And it's this huge list and it's not complete. Wakefield is just amazingly generous. And not quite answering the question here, I have it on my other screen. Compassionate action is doing things because you're able to see the world through other people's eyes, and you want to make sure that everyone has what they need to live a full life. Food, good education, Wakefield Educational Foundation. There's just so many cool things. Boys and Girls Club. There's so many wonderful things going on in this town. And as scary as our times are, I think that, and for all the kookiness that does happen in communities, we're in a good place. And I think a lot of good change can happen from here, and suburbs and rural areas and cities all over. There's good people everywhere. And it's being able to see the world through other people's eyes is important. And that's what compassionate action is, I think. And just doing the right thing, because what else are you going to do?
Thank you, Wendy. Janine, what does compassionate action mean to you?
To me, this means being in this context in particular. It means being a really good ally to people of color. It means stopping and listening and following their lead on what we can do to be most helpful. It also understanding that white people are the problem with racism, and that we are the ones that need to acknowledge this, and we need to really work together to break down structural racism in our town, in our state, in our country, in our world. That's what it means to me.
Thank you. And Raina, what does compassionate action mean to you?
Yeah, I feel like there's so many meanings to compassionate action. Like everything that Miss Wendy and Miss Janine said, like I totally agree with you. Compassionate action can mean just being kind to another person, and just treating everyone the same. Does not matter what color they are, what size they are, what they look like, does not matter. Just treat everyone equally, no matter what. And it can also mean, white people can start using their privilege to help Black people. You know what I mean? And so I think I think there's just so many meanings of compassionate actions. And I feel like that's what people need to understand.
Thank you guys so much. All your answers are so great. Another question that we have is, how is this community work activism affected you? And all of you have kind of talked about that, so I'm adding a little bit. But how has it affected you? And then when you try to recruit others to come to your voice and join in your movement building and join in your grassroots, how do you sell it to them? How do you explain to them why you do this and why they should join you on this journey? So I kind of adapted the question, and hopefully it makes sense. And Janine, I'm going to go to you first.
Okay. Well, the beginning part of it is my work really opened my eyes up to how much of my eyes in my mind to how much being a white person has allowed me to live a life of privilege just because of my skin color, something as random as that. It's affected where I can shop, where I can live, schools I can attend, that I could buy a home here in Wakefield and receive a bank loan. All these aspects have never been challenged in my life. So when I try to engage people in joining, whether it's our Stand Together Tuesdays or just to read some of the fantastic books that are out there about acknowledging white privilege and white dominance in this country, I tell them some of the titles that I've read that I really think are moving, that are really good books, and I encourage them to join us on our rallies. and just to, and I think as somebody said earlier, just think about being in someone else's shoes, somebody different, and maybe even somebody different skin color, just to look at life a little different than just what you've experienced, and acknowledge what you have experienced, and others may not have. So that's what needs me.
Thank you, Rainya. So how has this work affected you, and how do you get others to join you?
Yeah, this work has affected me by just having so many people, I guess, looking at me. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've gotten noticed many times, not just here in Wakefield, but in Boston too. At the Boys and Girls Club, they see the work that I do here at Wakefield. So they're like, can you do this for us? Well, can you lead this social justice class? Little stuff like that. And I always say yes, like I would love to, because again, like I said earlier, I will do anything in the world to try to make change in my community, in this world. And how I want to bring more people to this act is just social media, post like keep posting about what you see on the news, like the police brutality, or even good things like Kamala Harris being the first Black female VP, like good, just everything connecting to that, so that you can really get the word going, and that people actually start opening their eyes and seeing the change that is happening.
Thank you so much. And Wendy, how has this community activism affected you, and how do you recruit others?
I have to say that I don't know why, but I have a talent for getting people to help me do things. I've had this in work situations, everything. I don't know. Whatever. But it's I don't know. How has it affected me? It's profoundly affected my life, because I think the biggest thing is that all the people I have met and learned about and, I don't know, become friends with through doing community. I mean, if you're lonely, go volunteer. You will make friends. Go volunteer for something you care about. You will make friends. That's how you do it. You will, because you'll find people that are interested in the same things you are. And there you go. It's that simple as far as that kind of thing. I don't know. And sometimes it's been stressful, because you spend so much time volunteering and maybe you're not taking care of yourself or your family or whatever, that kind of thing. It can be a balance. But what was the other? What was the second part of the one what you added?
I just said, how do you recruit others, which is what you started with. I agree with everything that you said. And it goes back to you being a good project manager, where you're able to recruit people and sell it. But I think, I think people, you show people the value add and how it makes them feel. And then they want to join on these, big issues.
I think fundamentally the effect it has had on my life is, for those times when you feel like you're just a jerk and you're no good and all that, it makes you feel like, well, at least I've done something. Really, we all have our times when it's like, and just to know that at least you're doing something. You're not just sitting around feeling sorry for yourself or whatever. Just get out there and do stuff. It's just, I did a sermon once: to give is to receive is to give, and it's who's getting the most out of it, the one giving or the one receiving? And my take, it's equal. It's just, it's part of being human. It's part of it. It's what makes you be human. It makes being human worthwhile, is to give. That's what I say.
may I add something to yours, Wendy? Because
Certainly.
I join you sometimes with things that you've come to me about, and it's your enthusiasm. I love your enthusiasm. You're so genuine with what you and passionate about what you're doing that it pulls people in. It's pulled me in several times.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to start crying now. Oh, no. Oh.
But it's true what everyone said. So we didn't plan this out, but I want to give everyone a chance to just say anything else that they want to say. And I know sometimes that's really hard because you didn't prepare for that. So I'm going to do a little prompt and you can use it or not use it. But what's next, whether it be on something you're working on or something else, that a new issue you want to tell the world about, but what's next? And then anything else that you feel like you want to say as we wrap up. So I think I go back to Raina.
Yeah, so the next thing for me is going to college. I committed to HBCU, a historically Black college or university. It's called North Carolina Central University. So I committed to there. So I am going down there very soon. So my next step is just to start my journey there. I'm trying to major in African American studies so that I can continue educating myself on Black history so that I could spread that education to other people. And so I will still love to continue my activism down there, even though I don't know the place yet, but that's okay. It should not matter where you are to make change. And so, yeah, that is next for me. And just to wrap things up, I just want to say thank you for this youth award. I really appreciate it. And again, just strive to make change.
Thank you so much. Wendy?
Short-term memory. What was the question?
The question is, so what's next? What's next for you, for what you work on, and also any other closing remarks that you have?
What's next? I don't know. Part of me is trying to step back a little bit because I'm tired in some ways. I'm tired. I love everything I've done and all that. I will say I think what I'm going to want to focus more on is more affecting political activity, maybe. I'm definitely the whole Black Lives Matter thing. It's infuriating. It's infuriating that we've all been like, it's been going on for so long and nobody's really, those of us that are white, it's like, oh, gee, I mean, you always knew, but you just don't know. It's just crazy. I think making sure that our democracy stays intact would be important. I'm not sure how many, part of me is I'm trying to build a new writing career and that's what I need to focus on. But with that, I hope to use my writing to help affect change, to help educate people, to help encourage people to see the world through other people's eyes from a different perspective and to realize that, that whole thing, it's like, it's not like pie. It's like, there's enough for everybody. It's enough for everybody. Stop trying to feed that empty place inside with money and power because you'll never fill it. The only way you fill it is give and receive, give and receive. So, yeah. So I guess that's it.
No, that was great. Thank you so much. And then finally, Janine, what's next for the UU Church? What's next for the Social Action Committee?
Well, there's so much work, as Wendy was just saying, I think we all were saying. So we will continue. We will continue with our Stand Together. We've switched to Stand Together Saturdays strictly because the weather got a little too cold by 4:30, 5 o'clock. So we're going to do a once a month Saturdays now, but we will continue that work. And we will also be open to new ideas, new ways of engaging and listening and working. One of the things that I personally have started to get involved with is the new organization, Wakefield Against Racism Group. And that was a spinoff of the conversation, I think it's called Conversations About Whiteness. I think Benny's involved with it. There's a few people that are on the group, and they've held them at the library. They're going to have another one. They held one at the UU Church. We just happened to host it. And that's one of the places I started to get even more aware of how much work needs to be done. So I know they are holding another one that will be virtual, unfortunately, this spring. So if anybody is at all interested that's watching this program, I highly recommend it. It's so educational. It really opens your mind and your eyes to the white dominance of this country, things that I think we all hopefully will push ourselves to be more aware of. It's very easy to get in your little bubble and not pay attention, but it's so important that we all do and we all work together. And as a member, an active member of the Unitarian Social Action Committee, that is exactly what we will do. We will keep working. We will keep working until the structural racism is brought down and we are all having equality in this country. And it's a long process, but we'll get there. I believe we will.
Thank you so much. As I'm watching this, we are not so good in the Zoom world where, Benny, I feel like we should have planned it better and had somebody ring your doorbells right now and given you your awards, but we're not as great as the Oscars and Academies and all of those. So you should be getting an award if you haven't. Oh, did you already get them? Oh,
and thank you so much. On behalf of the Unitarian Universalist Social Action Committee, thank you so much. I look forward to hanging up in the church and for people to be in the church again soon to see it, because we're very proud of it.
I am so impressed with our Human Rights Commission. So on that note, congratulations to our awardees. Thank you for everything that you do for our community. We earlier mentioned Miss Coretta Scott King's quote of "the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members." So I want to personally thank you, Raina, Wendy, and Janine on behalf of the UU Church for working with compassion to make our community better. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Maureen.
Welcome. Thank you. And it's so wonderful to meet you all.
You too.
Good luck in college. Good luck in North Carolina. It's a beautiful state.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joy. I go to Wakefield Memorial High School and I'm a sophomore. And today I'm going to be reading a poem by Nikita Gill that shows what compassion means to me. And if you are someone who still carries hope in your heart, kindness in your eyes, and generosity in your fingertips, despite terrible people happening to you, thank you. You are one of the few truly pure things left in this world, and you deserve to be protected.
This is a poem about compassion by Araceli's Girmay. Let me hear you tell me what you are able. Let us both be able, and let us not cause damage, and let us not do harm, and let us find some ways to know each other, and let our knowing be peace.
We held public interviews around the city, and this is what we found out. What's your name?
Mr. Trahan.
Leslie.
Tasha.
Charlene.
I'm Tegan.
I'm Harrison.
I'm Cooper. I go by Vance, though.
My name's Amanda.
My name's Anthony.
My name is Ray Sinesis.
How long have you been in Wakefield?
About 15 years.
I grew up in Wakefield. Actually graduated from Wakefield High.
I've been in Wakefield for about 5 or 6 years.
Oh, my whole life, so 23 years.
18 years.
I don't live in Wakefield, but I've lived in the area my entire life.
Most of my life.
11 years.
I've been teaching in Wakefield now for 20 years.
What does compassion mean to you?
To me, compassion is just doing nice things for other people, even if that means putting something on the line for yourself.
Just to genuinely care, I guess.
Having empathy for other people, trying to understand somebody else's point of view.
I'll tell you something, these days it's not a very abundant thing, and it should be.
Being able to empathize with someone else.
Being nice, offering help when you can, stuff like that. Just treating each other as human beings,
Compassion to me is being able to maybe not know exactly what another person is going through, but to feel for them and to be able to understand, you know, their emotions and their feelings about whatever they're going through.
Do you feel like Wakefield is good at showing compassion to its citizens?
I think like people have really realized like that the compassion really needs to be shown. I think we're doing a really good job right now.
The people within it do seem very compassionate.
Yeah, especially now with COVID, I feel like the community has come together as a whole.
Yeah.
More than ever.
I've seen people do small things like help a lady, you know, with her groceries that she dropped on the ground, or open a door for somebody, or it could be anything. It could be any little thing. It all adds up.
It's actually changed a lot. It's actually gotten more compassionate than it was 11 years ago. It's actually changed drastically. It's done almost a 180 because you see that neighbors now come out and they welcome you. Sometimes I'm away for a while. They don't see the cars here, and they'll have like, you know, a little card, or I've gotten pies or cookies and stuff like that.
I see students showing compassion towards one another in the classroom, especially when like a student's having a difficult day and someone who may not necessarily be friends with them reaches out to that person to just say a hello or how are you.
How do you give back and show compassion to our community?
Putting me on the spot. Let's see.
You know, I try to volunteer and give back wherever I can. If somebody needs something more than me, then I'll give it them.
I just try to continue to be there. You know, I call my parents every day pretty much. Anything they need, I'll do for them. And all anybody ever has to do with me is just ask, and I'll try to help in any way that I can.
And I think that if people just took a few minutes every now and again through their day and actually looked at their fellow human beings, they would be able to express and share and give compassion.
Yeah, my brother is, he was like one of the autistic kids in Best Buddies, and I really think that like that stuff is really important for me to like come back to.
People who made masks, and we delivered those to healthcare facilities and hospitals all around the North Shore in Boston.
I work at the library and I try to help out anywhere I can there.
Just random acts of kindness. Just do your best to be a better type of human, communicate better, care more. That's all.
And look out, be your brother's keeper. If you see someone, don't assume that they're doing great or that they're doing extremely badly. Reach out and have conversations, be in communication. And I think that will it sets the tone for everything else that follows.
Okay. I know it's a big order to fill, but we can all try through random acts of kindness.
I think we're all learning, we're all a work in progress. And I think that's what Wakefield is right now, work in progress.
True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It understands that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring.
Congratulations to Raina, Wendy, and the UU Social Action Committee. Thank you all so much for joining us. And now we invite you to stay tuned for a service project in which you have the opportunity to contribute to our community. If you'd like to get involved with the Wakefield Human Rights Commission, please check out our Facebook page or visit our website. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all next year.